calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Well, even though this week's news is not great, we're still going to try and be more upbeat than last week. Well, at least cleaner. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course, this is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. The news didn't get any better.
No. I mean,
I guess it's a little better. Like, yeah, there's bad news, and then there's just disappointing news. Last week was disappointing news because it was the attitude about it, right?
Right.
Well, well.
Yeah.
I know we keep saying stuff, but you
right,
know.
Yeah. And the hell are they doing with our Star Wars? Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then this week it's just, I guess you can't really say it's bad news, but I guess it's kind of expected news, honestly. But it's not great news overall for Star Wars, right?
Right.
So I guess we can just go firing right out of the gate with it, right? Like,
heck yeah.
So Galactic Star Cruiser,
Yes.
the big Star Wars experience hotel at Walt Disney World in Florida, is closing this September.
When you say big, you mean the bill they hand you at the end of your stay, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yes. I really love the statement.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and read the whole statement.
I was going to say, I think there's something to be gleaned from it. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes. There's that. It was real. Duh moment. So Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is one of our most creative projects ever. It has been praised by our guests and recognized for setting a new bar for innovation and immersive entertainment. This premium boutique experience gave us the opportunity to try new things on a smaller scale of 100 rooms. And as we prepare for its final voyage, we will take what we've learned to create future experiences that can reach more of our guests and fans.
Okay, what did we learn?
Yep, what did we learn?
That not more of our guests can pay $6,000 for 4 people for 2 nights.
Now, while I agree with you, I also would like to mention that I don't think they learned the full lesson here.
Okay.
The full lesson here being, it's a new story. It's, moving into the, like, look, you have all this Star Wars property that is just beloved by Star Wars fans.
Right.
You're continuing to ignore using it.
Right.
Like the OT's off bounds, the PT's off bounds, like out of bounds, it's.
Yes. No,
you're just not using the content that's there.
I'm with you.
You just.
Okay.
It's the Disney era, so they got to use their product. I understand.
Hear me out. Just real quick. Hear me out. You have this. Okay. For 75 years now or whatever, Disney has been innovative in this theme park stuff, right? You telling me they couldn't make this some sort of giant building on a Lazy Susan type thing where there's a set built here, set built there, and you're on a Galactic Star Cruiser, right? You go in from your park entrance or whatever you do, and then you seen to your room, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're taking off, blah, blah, blah. There's a big screen that shows you hyperspace and all that, blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, the building's kind of rotating, and then everyone gets off on Tatooine. Right?
Like Star Tours?
Kinda, right? But
Like, where you just like,
But you
one
actually
minute you're here in this
you
genre,
actually
and then you're here, and then
but
you're here.
You would actually get off of the quote unquote Star Cruiser and interact on Tatooine. You would go to the Mos Eisley Cantina, have a drink, right? You know, there'd be
Which spans generations of Star Wars.
right. Okay.
Use that stuff.
You do that for 4 hours or whatever, you're there. Then you get back on the Galactic Star Cruiser, you know, go through your hyperspace and all that, blah, blah, blah. You have a little, you know, if you're going to make it experience, make it an experience, right? As the building rotates again and you go back out the exact same entrance that you used to get on Tatooine, you get off on Coruscant. You know, it's like, that's
Right.
the kind of, if it's going to be $6,000, that's what I expect. You know?
Not that like, hey, look, it's generation spanning, right? You know, it's covering, you know, the age of do they call it the age of the New Republic or First Order, whatever they call it?
Right.
It's covering that, and the ship's as old as the High Republic, so like it's covering generations of Star Wars,
Oh, sure.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And who are all these
We're gonna leave
people?
out all the stuff that we paid $4 billion for in the middle, but
Right.
you know, we're only gonna focus on our stuff. Why did you pay $4 billion for all of it then?
Exactly.
Why didn't you just get the rights from George Lucas to move forward with it? Like, hey, you can keep the old stuff and keep getting paid on it, but we're going to take all the new stuff.
Oh, no, they wanted to get paid on the old stuff because.
Then use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just,
I know.
that lesson just, it totally bounced off.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody's looking at this like it's not like going to a new Star Wars movie and you're gonna pay $20 or if you're gonna get refreshments and stuff $50, right?
Right.
To see a movie, and you're like, oh man, what if it sucks? Well, it's $50, it's new Star Wars, whatever.
Right.
No, this one's all new content. You're gonna pay $5,000 to see it, and hey, what if it sucks?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a tough pill to swallow.
And by many accounts.
And then when you see the first images and the bridge looks like it's from Star Trek, it's like, what the
Right.
hell?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Like, I wonder why people didn't spend $5,000.
Yeah. I also think that as a company, they were looking at all of the things that Star Wars fans do, right? You have the celebrations and people will plan their vacations around those and, you know, all that kind of stuff. They'll plan vacations to go to the Redwood Forest and to, you know, Tunisia and things like that. Okay, yeah, Star Wars fans can get a little crazy with that stuff. But this right here is not one of those things that you can spend that kind of money on and not get everything you're expecting out of the experience, you know?
Not only that, and look, this opinion is probably going to be a little unpopular, but Disney has done a good job when they come in of pushing away the Star Wars fans that are willing to spend ridiculous amounts of money on different Star Wars memorabilia, like all that stuff, right? Collecting stuff.
Yeah, I would agree
They've
with
been
this.
really pushing them away. And I'll even ask, like, hey, were they serving cups of fanboy tears at Galactic Star Cruisers? Because, like, that's the kind of stuff you were doing.
Yes.
Those are the people that are going to spend $5,000 to come to your hotel.
Right.
So there's a lot of lessons here.
And they're going to spend that money if it's worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For these people, I mean, the people that are going to do the kind of things I was talking about, it is worth it to go to the Redwood Forest and say, okay, here is where the speeder bike chase happened, you know?
Right.
And kind of walk the path of the speeder bike chase. It's like, that's, you know, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, this idea that Star Wars fans won't spend $5,000 for a Star Wars experience. I mean, people go to Tunisia.
Yeah.
People go to the Redwood Forest, like you said. They make these big trips to see stuff that their imagination has to take over, right? Like,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah, the homestead's still there in Tunisia, right? Like, the Redwood Forest, okay, it looks like it, but it's not like there's outposts all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's imagination, right?
Yeah.
And they're spending money to go do this. So,
Yeah.
it's not like, but I mean, you're talking 2 nights, $5,000. It's a tough pill to swallow.
So tough that apparently not enough people have swallowed it.
No.
I
mean,
I don't know.
I know they said it like, oh, we did it on a smaller scale, 100 rooms. That means it's going to be packed every night.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah. We will take what we've learned to create future experiences that can reach more of our guests and fans. That means we're going to make it way more affordable. We're going to try.
It means they're going to make a Star Wars version of the All-Star Resorts where you just go and there's just a bunch of Star Wars stuff everywhere. That's all.
Probably. Yeah.
The immersive thing is gone.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Look, it worked with Galaxy's Edge. But you know what? You didn't have to pay a premium for that immersive experience.
Right.
You could just go there and there's activities and stuff that give you that immersion. That's great. You could have done something like that with the hotel. There's just stuff going on that could give you immersion, but you don't have to completely sell out on it, which with this experience, you had to completely sell out.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, you had to follow some rules when you went in and you had to follow some rules when you go out. That's it.
Right.
So, yeah. I was all in for this thing when they announced it.
Right. Me too.
And I saw the price tag. And I'm
saw the price tag and caught a glimpse, their big, trailers and release of what it is actually that you're getting. And it's like, oh, okay.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's not what I was going to sign up for.
So in lieu of all that, this is not particularly surprising.
Right. So, yep. So if you were looking to get in on it before it's gone,
yeah.
The final voyages are September 28th through the 30th. So I'm sure there's still rooms available.
Right. Hurry up and be the last to do this.
Either that or this was a great play and they're going to save a little bit of money here and then they get to still repurpose the building.
Oh, that's what I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do with all this stuff. It's yeah. Cuz that's if they turn this building into something else, there will be Star Wars fans, dumpster diving for this stuff.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the majority of this hotel is going to remain the same. It's going to remain a Star Wars themed hotel, but the experience is going to change.
Right.
The rooms will probably have different decor. So it's only 100 rooms. If, you remodel half of them to represent various eras.
Yeah.
Like you can probably recover this. Make it affordable. You will sell this thing out every night.
It'll be interesting. Yeah. It will be interesting to see what they do.
I mean, they got to do. It's gonna be something Star Wars related. I mean, they built the damn building. Like,
yeah.
And the theming here, there's no way they can cut this whole thing. There's just no way.
No.
So, especially not with the way Disney Plus is hemorrhaging money.
Right. touching on that again, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in the news again.
Right.
So, basically, I'm assuming this is a cost-cutting move of some sort. They're cutting a lot of shows from Disney Plus,
Yeah, I saw that.
like a lot of shows. Most of them never heard of.
Right?
So I guess this kind of makes sense. It's the overreach stuff, right? But some of them I'm like surprised because these were big investments.
Gotcha.
So and when I say cutting shows, it's not like they're canceling shows per se. I don't know if they've canceled, for example, one of the shows being removed is Mighty Ducks Game Changers. I don't
Okay.
know if this is canceled or not. It may be. But that's being removed.
Huh.
Willow is being
Willow.
removed.
Willow.
Yep.
I'm kind of blown away by Willow.
So it's being removed. I'm like, wow, it's not even getting time for, you know, the latecomers, right?
Right.
Because when did the Willow series release?
Wasn't that long ago.
November 30th.
Right. 6 months.
6 months. Gone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not even giving time for the latecomers, right?
Right.
And that's not like this is a show or a movie that got released somewhere and it came to Disney Plus and it's going to get a short run and it's still being sold elsewhere. Like, no, this is a show that was made for Disney Plus. It's only on Disney Plus
Right.
and it's going away.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
So, wild move. Like, I understand it didn't come out to the fanfare that they hoped it would.
Right, but I don't know. I almost feel like they're not giving it, giving it a chance. You know what I mean? Although we did look into, okay, what is the term that they use for this? Because we did look at this.
Content impairment charge.
Right. So through our best brief investigative abilities here, I think we kind of figured that this has got to be the thought that these shows and movies are the ones on their service that will not drive people to become new subscribers to Disney Plus, FX, Hulu, right? I mean, because that's what's going to increase revenue for the streaming service. You know, if you're already a subscriber, you're already a subscriber. So, it's not like it's going to, increase their revenue beyond what you already are doing as a customer. They need new engagement. So they're figuring these shows are not going to provide that. So they're going to get rid of them. Hopefully that means to make room for new, better content. Oh, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, the announcement, I got to say too, the announcement is very sudden, right? Because the announcement came on May 19th. Right?
Yep.
Willow's being removed on the 26th.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away by how quick that was happening. Yeah.
Like, you're not even giving it a chance. Like, oh wow, you might get last ditch effort from people.
Right.
Like,
I might have a month to binge this or something. Nope.
yeah, like, oh wow, I was gonna check that out. Let me resub real quick and watch that. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed I didn't watch it now
Yeah, me too. But
because I mean, I'm not a huge Willow fan, right? Like,
agreed.
but I didn't hate it.
Right.
So I would watch the series just to see, hey, what they do with it.
Right.
But apparently I'm not going to have that chance now, even though I had the chance. It's on me, but
Yeah, but really, you know, you have a different focus, right? And there was plenty of Star Wars content to keep you occupied up until now.
well, here's one of those things, like I was just talking about with Galactic Star Cruiser. This is another failing that they had with Willow. They didn't do a good enough job of promoting the old Willow
Right.
to try and get new engagement. You know, like they just kind of said, they just kind of acted like the new one was going to walk on its own merits. And
Yeah.
like, I think a lot of people are like, well, I never saw Willow. I'm not going to watch the show.
Yeah, well, but again, you know, going right into what you're talking about here, why not do like a 2-weekend re-release in the theaters of Willow? I mean, that would have drawn some people, you know? I mean, hype it up big.
They don't do theaters anymore, Todd.
I know.
The theater's dead to them.
Yeah, apparently.
Everybody's too busy for the theaters.
Right. I don't know. I just I am a little shocked by that series in particular. I mean, they had all of the behind the scenes stuff, you know, all the
Oh yeah, that's going too, by the way.
yeah, well, but I mean, leading up to the release of it, you know, all the cameraman following around Warwick Davis, you know, talking to all the cast and everything and all that, you know, all that kind of stuff happening. But I don't know, maybe they assumed that was going to be enough. That's all the marketing they needed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's borderline arrogance. Like, yeah, we paid all this money for all this stuff because it was good back then and
Right.
popular back then. So we don't have to like utilize that to make our new stuff work because it already did its thing. That was a long time ago.
It's almost, dude, it's almost like you pay $4 billion for this
Name?
right? This name is Lucasfilm. Take out the Lucas, and what do you got? Film. Yeah.
Film. Yeah, and they don't even make films anymore, so
I
it's
know.
weird. No, it's just I don't understand it. Like Willow came out when, right?
Oh, I'm guessing like 98 or something. I don't know. Watch me. I'm going to be way off.
You said what?
98.
88.
See, I told you I was going to be way off.
Okay. Willow. 88.
Right.
You're releasing a new series based on a 1988 film.
Uh-huh.
And you're just hoping. And I would even venture to, it's not exactly a cult classic type film, but it's borderline.
Right.
Right? Willow wasn't as mainstream as Star Wars. I can
True.
understand this arrogance when you're doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you're doing Willow.
Yeah. You put
All
Star
right.
Wars at the beginning of anything, and it's like, it's got to be, you know, it's got to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willow's
I mean-
a little different.
Just a little bit. So, like, why not try to push the old Willow first? Try to grab those new fans.
Yeah.
especially, man, I would venture to say that fantasy over the last 20 years has been pretty strong.
Right.
So why not try to grab a new audience?
Well, they should have. I mean, like I said, if you're not going to do a theater release, then do a Disney Plus release on whatever date you want on Friday night at 8:00. It's coming out, and get together with everybody. There's going to be a live streaming, Twitter chat or whatever. Everyone log in here and talk about it. Whatever, something. I don't know.
Why not do a Willow push on like make a deal with TBS, right? Like,
Sure.
do something. Get the exposure out there for the old show.
Yeah.
Don't rely on your cult following from '88 to prop up your very poorly promoted Disney Plus show. I guess it wasn't poorly promoted, but it wasn't fantastic either.
I mean, we all knew it was coming out, but I mean, I didn't know.
Solo level.
I didn't know anything about the story or anything. It's Willow. That's what they kept telling us. It's Willow. Okay, great. What about it now is going to draw me to it? You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
That's kind of where I was at with it.
Huh. I got a few days to try and see if I can see this thing.
Oh yeah, binge it, dude. Take a couple days off work.
Dude, if you think I'm taking off work for Willow. I'm just not that into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate it,
Right.
but I mean, it's not like I was the prime audience when Willow came out. I was 4.
Yeah.
So it's just a little young. Just a little.
A little bit.
But yeah, I don't know. I think with the right approach and not just this, hey, it has Lucasfilm on it, it's going to do well.
Yeah. Exactly.
That wasn't the approach they should have taken. But hey, what do I know?
Right.
I'm in no position to buy something for $4 billion. So
Exactly.
yeah, I guess it's just the obvious with Disney Plus. They just threw everything at the wall, see what sticks, and now they're scraping up the stuff that didn't. So
Right.
hopefully it's not all these Disney Plus woes aren't signs of like Disney Plus in trouble, like in trouble to the point where Disney Plus may not be.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because I do like Disney Plus.
So do I.
I like it a lot. There's good content on there.
There's Star Wars on there.
There's Star Wars on there. But I mean, I think they do a good job with their behind the scenes content. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to see them keep doing that. But if
That's the kind of stuff, though, that kind of stuff back in the day, right, when you knew you were going to have 3 years between movies, back in that kind of day, it's the behind the scenes kind of stuff that kept Star Wars in the forefront of people's minds, right?
I agree, but I don't think that's the kind of stuff that could keep a streaming service alive.
No, I understand that.
Because it's still it's niche enough to not.
But it is like, it is the sort of thing that Star Wars fans have clung to,
Yeah. Oh, don't disagree.
You know, we dig that kind of stuff. We'd like to see how. That's the other thing, right? It's like we like to see how the sausage is made, but it's like that is very diluted now in this era. You know what I'm saying? It's very reminiscent of the, you know, we're going to keep everything under wraps, and, you know, we're going to have big hooplas about stuff coming out, but not tell you anything, you know. So, I don't know. That's going down a tangent anyway.
Yeah, I'm starting to think more and more with all the secrecy that goes on now and how they hide stuff now. It was less back then about George Lucas keeping stuff secret and more about George Lucas just didn't know what he was doing next. He just kind of flew by the seat of his pants, and it came out when it came out.
Right. Except, like, yeah, I don't know. There might be something to that, but then, you know, they're trying to recreate that now, and it's just falling flat.
Well, now it's just it's kind of ridiculous because you're doing so much,
right?
And your efforts to keep stuff secret is just so, it's borderline dishonest at this point,
right?
Like, okay, I understand you want to keep stuff secret, but like now you're just lying to us.
Yep. Kind
like
of.
There's a difference between like keeping something under wraps and things like that. Then like, because I don't think for a second that all these instances where people are out being asked about their involvement in future Star Wars and stuff like that, I'm starting to think that like with the frequency at which that happens, this is intentional.
Oh yeah.
They're putting people in these situations.
Yes.
And I'd even venture to say that they may even be planting the question. Yeah. Or at least nudging them towards the question.
Right.
Like this whole, like, of course, someone who's involved with Star Wars is going to be asked about Star Wars.
Every time.
Yeah, I believe that when it's a Harrison Ford or a Mark Hamill or Ewan McGregor.
Sure.
But when Lars Mikkelsen is getting grilled everywhere he goes about Star Wars,
yeah,
I'm sorry, that sounds a little sus to me.
Exactly.
Like, very few people knew Lars Mikkelsen had anything to do with Star Wars. I say very few. I mean, it was still a lot of people, but very few in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
All right. Like, and this guy getting grilled everywhere he goes, that was just, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You were planting this to build hype. If not planting, at least planting the idea that might be a thing out there.
Right.
So yeah, they're just kind of at this point, and then he goes, "Oh, no one's talked to me. No one said anything to me." And then he shows up at Celebration, and there's a shot of the back of his head and everything, and like, "Hey, look, I was just joking." No, you're lying.
It's funny too because, like, those sort of lines, right? Well, no one's talked to me about it. No one's asked. You know, it seems to be like a canned line anymore, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like with Natalie Portman this week?
Right.
Like that one?
Yeah.
Now we're just wondering every time this comes up, like, okay, what's Natalie Portman working on with Star Wars?
Uh-huh.
So that was that GQ thing they do with is Actually Me, where they get celebrities to go on all this social media and answer questions.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was
yeah, that'd be super hard to insert your own questions into, wouldn't it?
No way they can plant someone on social media. That's not a thing.
Exactly.
it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Absolutely, it does.
But yeah, I mean, it came up like if she'd be open to like returning to Star Wars or something. I watched the interview and or whatever, but don't remember the question exactly. But her answer was something like she has no information about anything like that, and no one's ever asked me, but I'd be open to it.
Sure.
I like but I'd be open to it. Well, first off, since when?
Right. Because that hasn't been her stance in the past, correct?
No. That's a new development.
Right.
And then why would they be asking about her coming back to Star Wars?
Maybe.
I mean, there's been no hints about them diving into that portion of Star Wars.
No, there hasn't. But I just find it interesting that, with all of Hayden's involvement, wouldn't that be something? If you could have some sort of like little adventure between episode 2 and 3 sort of thing. I mean,
like maybe something involving Thrawn.
Thrawn? Oh, maybe, yeah.
Alliances, right?
Yeah, could happen.
Did you get to that book?
I don't know, man. No, I don't think so.
Thrawn Alliances?
I've not.
Damn it, Doc.
Wait, Alliances? Which one is that?
That's the one with Padme ends up stranded on whatever, and Thrawn and Anakin work together.
Yeah. It's the one that flashes back and forth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've read that one. Yeah.
And that was right in the timeline you were talking about?
Yes, exactly.
I was like, I thought you read the first 3, right?
Yeah. That one I did read. So,
okay.
But, something like that, I'm skeptical because I don't see them going back to revisit that timeline, unless they're turning around on this and like, okay, maybe that's what the people want. It's like, hey, you think that could be a thing?
Well, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it. Let's just think of what they've done in the Mandoverse so far. Utilizing flashbacks.
Yeah.
So we got Thrawn coming.
Yep.
Thrawn is going to be a character that for the mainstream, no one knows.
Exactly.
No one knows.
Yeah. If you weren't reading Early Empire back in the 90s and stuff, you're kind of...
Or even watching Rebels or...
Sure. Exactly.
Which that's also that audience is still getting bigger. I'm still so stoked to see.
It is, but it's not as big as the film audience, right? And
no, it's not as big, but
a story like that, if you had a Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor, right, in something, that would draw those people in. All the people that love the prequels, who wouldn't go see that?
And in Alliances, you got situations that involve all 3 of those characters.
Exactly.
So this is something you can utilize.
Yes.
And get everybody instantly feeling like, oh, I kind of feel like I know who this is.
Right.
Even though they don't, but they kind of feel that way.
Yeah, but it would, for all those who are gonna watch the Ahsoka show and be like, okay, cool story and all, but where's all this come from? You could have like the origin, quote unquote origin kind of Thrawn in live action,
Which Alliances is Thrawn's origin in this portion of space.
True. Yes.
So it's not his origin at all per se, but it's his origin in this portion of the galaxy.
Yes.
So in the portion of the galaxy that we know. So
Yeah.
something they could do. Like I said, whenever they say, no one's asked me, you're automatically suspect. At this point in the game, with the way they do things lately, you're on the radar now.
I like how you're basically saying you said no, so that means yes. Okay.
I didn't.
I know you're not saying it in those definitive terms, but it's just kind of funny how it's like.
It just immediately made me go start trying to put the pieces together, right?
Right.
So, you know, they didn't want to just go do an Ahsoka show because they know not everyone watched
Clone Wars.
the Clone Wars,
Right.
Rebels. You know, those are relatively small audiences compared to those who watch the movies. What's
Yep.
the best way to get Ahsoka connected for the mainstream? Put it in this show alongside Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And God, you think
Bang.
about it, dude. In this movie pitch that we're making, you can bring Ahsoka into as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which would add a whole other element to alliances.
yes. Man,
So you got a lot to work with here.
all those dots, they connect. Make
Weird.
a good picture. Yeah.
So, yeah. Like I said, when you pull this, and no one's asked me, but I'm open to it. All right. You're on the radar.
All right. Let's look for Natalie Portman to be over in England for a while, you know. I mean, you know, filming, right? So,
Yeah, if they all of a sudden catch her in London, like it's like, oh God.
exactly.
Knew it. No, I'm just here for tea.
Yeah.
Bull.
What is it? What's it? Studio Elstree Studios? Is that it? I think. Yeah. If that's
Yep.
just around the corner, yeah. Not buying it. I don't know. With a lot of the moves that have been made lately, that one right there would not be the worst. That's for sure.
No, it'd be a good move in all honesty.
Yep.
And it would be a move that would help solidify Thrawn's presence for
Yeah.
the mainstream.
Absolutely.
You know, like you said, even though the Clone Wars audience and Rebels audience is growing and growing, it's still a character that, you know, you're gonna have to make a connection for people, or it's not gonna land right.
Right.
I mean, if you do Thrawn right, it's going to land right with all of us hardcores, no problem. But, you know, even us, you know, hardcore fans, we realize that, look, you gotta make it for everybody. I want Crystal Ann to be like, oh, Thrawn? I feel like I know who that character is.
Right. Totally.
She gets invested in Thrawn, it's like, yes,
Exactly.
this is the best bad guy.
Oh. Heck yeah.
The bad guy I rooted for, oddly enough. Weird.
Right.
So, all right. So sticking with Ahsoka a little bit, there was some bad news in the Ahsoka camp there.
Yeah.
So Ray Stevenson, the characters who I shouldn't say slated to play, did play in the unreleased Ahsoka series so far. Baylan Skoll,
Right.
which is this white bearded character we see with the orange blade.
Yep.
passed away, age 58.
Yep, that's a bummer.
It's a bummer, and not a stranger to Star Wars.
Right?
He also voiced Gar Saxon in Rebels. So got history.
Right.
Got history. In fact, Gar Saxon, a character we just talked about recently.
It is actually. I thought the same thing.
So huge bummer. Looking forward to seeing what he did.
Right.
Yeah, this is never an easy thing to talk about.
No, and you know, I gotta say, too soon, right? Too young.
Too soon.
Too
58?
soon.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Exactly.
But I mean, actor I know because I love the Punisher.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? He played Frank Castle in Punisher Warzone.
Gotcha.
So yeah, total bummer. Total bummer, but really looking forward to his performance for Ahsoka because
Yeah, for sure.
looks good. He's got a kick-ass vibe about him in all those shots, you know. So
Yep.
Yeah. Tough to see. Tough to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
All right. So, still sticking with Ahsoka.
More.
More Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson got to talking about two things. I'll kind of combine two things here.
Okay.
Just to keep flow going and keep moving.
Yeah.
Ashley Eckstein had visited the set.
Cool.
So she talked about what it was like to have the OG there, right? Like,
Yeah. Right. I like that she recognizes that. That's good.
she really did. She really did. And there's not a whole lot here, right? I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, Ashley Eckstein gave her blessing." Of course she did.
Yeah.
Like, Ashley Eckstein was like excited from the get-go
Right.
about Ahsoka being there. So this is not a shock that she gave her blessing. But that's the headline everywhere.
Yeah.
Ashley Eckstein gives her blessing on Ahsoka. Duh. This is the leader of the Ahsoka Lives campaign.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Ashley Eckstein was doing Ahsoka Lives just so she had a job. She was doing it because she loves the character.
Yeah. Exactly.
She loves what they created. Ashley's so genuine. So genuine. And that comes through again with what Rosario had to say. You know, she said that you could see it in the look in her eyes just watching it. She said it was very similar to the look in Dave Filoni's eyes when he saw it the first time. The guy directing it.
Nice.
So, and then she went on to praise everything that they did with the work they did in the dark rooms, voicing these animated characters for so long. And then this one I thought was cool. She says, "We literally religiously watched these episodes over and over again as homework." Speaking of the Clone Wars and Rebels. She said, which is like the easiest and best homework in the world. Fair.
Right.
Wish that was my job.
Yeah.
Like, hey, tomorrow you got to sit down and watch the Clone Wars. These are the episodes you got to watch.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. But I was gonna watch something else. No, nope. Yeah. Nope. Okay.
But
Got
I
it.
was going to watch Willow.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Not anymore. You're not.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Exactly.
Damn. How do we do that?
We're horrible.
All right. That's terrible.
Yes.
All right. And she says, and the inflection of the voice and the heart and the love and just the commitment over so many years. And she says, I mean, she's a true believer. And I think that heart just lives on in this story. So she literally sees everything that she's doing in her portion of the story. That it's Ashley Eckstein's kind of,
It's an extension of what Ashley started.
it's an extension of her heart into that character going forward.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, totally.
So, yeah, and then the article continues, more praise for the Clone Wars and Rebels and all the work that Ashley did. So I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and I thought the Ashley Eckstein gives her blessing was a little like misnomer on this
Yeah,
whole article. Because
Yeah.
that was like one line.
I gotta say, I kind of saw that headline and thought this was gonna be a real non-story, like of okay, yeah, we get it. Ashley's a nice person. Of course, she gives her blessing. It's like, and that's, I kind of like skimmed past it because of that. Yeah.
No, I think they really missed the boat here on the what could have been the headline for this article. You know, because this article was more about like praise and reverence for everything Ashley Eckstein did as Ahsoka from Rosario Dawson,
Right.
who is playing Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So if that gives you a kind of insight to where her headspace is while performing as Ahsoka.
Exactly.
So that gives me a lot of
Hope for the character in the
confidence
show. Yeah.
and hope for the
Yes.
character going forward because of that.
Yes.
Because Ashley Eckstein did all that work that made us love this character.
Well, you remember me, when Rosario Dawson was first cast, I was like, that's cool, that's awesome, but man, I wish they'd have cast Ashley, right? But
Mhm.
Now seeing that Rosario feels this way about this character and Ashley,
Well, hell, I mean, even look beyond that. Once we saw Rosario in the role, we saw the first still. It's like, wow, she looks great.
yeah,
But I still hope they have Ashley voice the character.
right, exactly, yes,
And then we saw how Rosario voiced the character and portrayed the character, and we got over that.
yep,
But those were our first thoughts. And then to see an interview like this from Rosario talking about Ashley, it's like, wow, this is why you were able to do what you did.
right,
Because there's respect there. There's,
yep,
it's, you are taking on this role and you are respecting everything that came before it. And you want to, I don't want to say live up, because you're not trying to live up to it. You're
No,
trying
but-
to live up and build on.
right, and
You
honor
still
it.
got to make it your own.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it becomes like, if you're just trying to mimic someone or do something, it always comes by very disingenuous.
Yeah, falls flat. Yeah,
It falls flat. It just never comes through the same way. But if you're trying to take that, add your portion and build on it, and it's teamwork, right?
Yep.
Just moving forward, you passing the torch and building on it. And that's what this article did. And I thought Ashley Eckstein gives her blessing was like, ew.
yeah,
That's what you got out of this interview?
right.
I mean, yes, it is factual. She did. But that was a very, very small portion of this.
Right.
So, all right, moving on. Still with Ahsoka, though. Rosario talked about lightsaber training.
Cool.
Always cool. Oh, always some of the best stuff in all those behind the scenes things, right?
Right.
So there's not a lot here, but she made some comments that were, I thought, pretty telling into how much she's paid attention to Ahsoka in animation,
Okay.
right? First, she did say that they were doing 2 hours a day, 7 days a week of training.
Really?
That's some pretty intense training.
I was gonna say that's a lot. That's doing it every day means you're not gonna like, let those skills atrophy. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then, and she did say, and add on that we were actually filming and doing these different battles and having to continue studying them. That okay, that's even more than 2 hours a day.
Right.
So 2 hours a day of just like practice.
That's cool.
And then you film.
Wow.
And then you take notes. You on those notes. Like that's intense.
Yeah, it is.
But she noted that there was additional challenges to doing these lightsaber sequences for Ahsoka because she's ambidextrous.
Oh yeah.
So she said that was just kind of a lot to own.
Yeah, Ahsoka fights with 2 blades.
2 blades and very well
Right.
with both hands.
That would be
Like-
tough.
Like Ahsoka wouldn't be one that you would like knock the right hand one away and then she would immediately switch her left hand one to her right hand.
Right.
No, she's just going to keep going.
Yep.
She's just as good.
Huh. Interesting.
It's like, that's a neat little thing to point out. And like, you think back on it and you're like, yeah, she was pretty kick-ass with both hands, right?
Right, exactly.
There was no favoring one hand for Ahsoka.
No.
So yeah, that you would notice, we didn't think about it going in, but we would notice if Rosario ended up favoring one hand.
Right. Exactly.
It'd be subtle and it might take a minute for us to notice, but we would notice.
Yeah. Because there would be inevitably a scene where it's like, well, in that case, Ahsoka should have just pulled out the other lightsaber and done blah, 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 blah. That's, yeah. We're Star Wars fans like that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that she's pointing this out also means that Dave probably pointed this out as well.
Yes. Well, of course Dave did. I mean,
And Dave's like, oh, hold on. You don't know these people.
right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You can't go favoring your right hand. They're going to notice.
They were really nice in celebration. But if you don't use your left hand, they won't be very nice anymore. Yeah. That is funny.
They'll go from bunnies to lions real quick.
Yep. Too funny.
But no, I thought that was a cool thing to point out. And that is just another one of those things
Right.
that I think just shows they are not. I mean, okay, you almost have to be with these animated series and moving these characters into live action. You almost have to be even more meticulous than you would be because there's
Yeah.
so much content. There's so many examples. There was so much time for us to get used to Ahsoka's fighting style, more so
Yes.
than you would have with Luke Skywalker.
Absolutely. The other part of it is seeing as how all the other stuff is animated. That allows them to do stuff that just physically isn't possible in live action. So you have to adapt everything to live action and account for that. You know what I'm saying?
You know you're going to have shortcomings
Yes.
just because it's live action.
Right.
But you can't let a detail like this be the distraction because this is
Exactly.
something you could handle.
Yep.
It may be difficult to do, but it can be done.
And it's nice to hear that she's putting the work in, though, because that's
Oh yeah,
that is going to be one of those things that kind of rounds out that character for us.
yeah.
A
This
small
is
thing, but important.
this is one that it's almost become so like expected anymore that the person that's coming in to play this role in Star Wars is going to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've been doing all this and blah blah blah."
Oh yeah.
But Rosario, like, she came in and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this work." She said she was a fan, but like, didn't say "Oh yeah, I've been a Star Wars fan all my life," and like, she didn't say all that.
Right.
But she said she's been putting in this work. She's been watching all these shows,
Right.
and then you see stuff like this. It's like, oh yeah, she's definitely watching all these shows.
Yeah.
Probably helps that you got Dave right there. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you know how you did this? You need to watch this episode because you can't do that.
If there's anybody who can give her a pop quiz on her homework, it's Dave.
Dave's the guy over there going, okay, we could try this, and this. Actually, no.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We can't do that because this happened, and yeah.
Yeah, it's the one thing. That's one thing Dave's always really been really, really good at. Is he's kind of that encyclopedia of Star Wars stuff.
Yep.
He keeps up on his research, and he, keeps reminding himself as well as everyone else, like, hey, we can't do that. Like,
Right.
so nice to see that it rubbed off on those that were working with him as voice actors. It's also rubbing off on those working with him in live action.
Right. Totally.
So cool. And that's promising, right? This is the good news.
Right.
In all the mess we've had over the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see this show. I really can't.
It's definitely the show that's had me the most excited since all these Disney Plus shows have started.
Right.
I mean, The Mandalorian, it got me pretty good, but this one's building on that.
Right. Totally. Which, okay. There was a, staying on Ahsoka, right? There was a, I guess you could call it a leak, I guess. We were told at Celebration that Ahsoka would be coming to us in August of this year. And now I guess there's been a deleted page on the Disney Movie Insiders page that apparently said Ahsoka will be premiering August 31st. So, yeah, we're going to leave it to the last possible day in August for you to see the show. So,
Oh man. So this makes me laugh especially because I'm a gamer.
Yep.
I play a lot of Blizzard games.
Right.
Blizzard does this all the time.
Really.
Like, and it's not just like months, right? Like coming December or coming holiday or coming winter, coming fall. Like
Right.
it would be the last day of said time frame.
Right.
If they say coming summer, it's the last day of summer.
That's funny.
Like literally calendar. If you look at your calendar, it's say, first day of fall, the next day.
That's hilarious.
It's just, that's how Blizzard works. So like seeing this just makes me chuckle.
Yeah. Very similar, but it's not that far away. So,
Well, I'll say this. At least they said, hey, it's coming in August. And the leak said a day in August.
Yes, that is true.
Not that it's been shelved.
Shelved or delayed till January.
Delayed.
Right.
You know, all those words that we're so familiar with as Star Wars fans in this current era.
Exactly.
So, yeah, or that other word, indefinitely.
Yeah. Until further notice.
All right. Oh, I think we only got one more thing. Look at that. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Did you think there was a second season?
I really didn't, think about it being one way or the other if there was or wasn't. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. And, if there isn't, we got kind of like I guess you could say a complete story. So, we did talk about it before, how it would be cool to see
the Qui-Gon stuff.
The
right?
Qui-Gon stuff. Yeah, exactly. The training Obi-Wan had to go through and all that.
My thing is this. It was announced as a limited series.
Right.
Right? I assumed that meant it was like a mini series kind of movie event, like Band of Brothers, right? Like,
yep.
Like, this is not something we're looking at seasons.
Right.
I don't know why there's this talk about like, we currently have no plans for a second season. It's like, I didn't think you did to begin with.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Kathy Kennedy was asked the question, right?
I know. I understand she was asked the question. But I thought the answer was kind of, why would you act like you were even thinking about it?
Right. I always hesitate to say no more or no to more Obi-Wan. It's like, okay. Yeah. I understand, I guess, but it's like, I don't know.
I got another question.
What's that?
Since when did you hesitate to tell us shit we're never going to get?
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Where's the Lando show? Come on.
I mean, I was like, that's weird.
So I guess
I'm sorry.
I guess on the scale of what we're told we're getting and what we actually get, this means this is definitely not happening, right?
I mean, I'm sorry, Kathy. Just say no. We're not working on anything.
Right.
Like, don't use all this mumbo jumbo to say that.
Weasel words, some might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, stop. You're not helping.
Right.
You're not help. Just say no.
Right. Exactly. This is not a thing. Yeah. You want something like this? Write your senator. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
like, it just, and if you want to say it in a way that's non-committal, and I'm not trying to coach or anything here, but like at this point in the game, it sounds like y'all over there need help.
Right.
Instead of say, I hesitate to say no to more. No, just say, no, we have no more in the works.
Right.
But who knows what the future holds? Done.
Right.
You're saying, no, we're not working on anything. We have no plans to work on anything. But you never know. You never know. George always said he wasn't going to do more, and look what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
These things just happen. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
So true.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Hesitate it just makes everyone jump on there and say, oh, she's saying there might be more.
Yeah, look what we did with Natalie Portman.
Ask Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
and I'm because we're not the only ones going. Yeah, Natalie Portman's probably in Star Wars again.
Exactly.
So, and then like, not to beat a dead horse here, but she went on to say also like maybe we end up doing something that gets incorporated into some of the other stories that we're doing.
Right.
What stories you're doing?
What? Yeah. What are you talking about there? That.
Or eventually into a movie. Let's just fuel the fire even more. Just fan that away.
Okay. Yeah, that movie, that's going to be coming out in 2047. Yeah. Judging from the track record here, what's announced and what's released.
2047. So definitely under the next person.
Yes.
Hopefully when they say something's coming out, I can believe them.
Yes.
I mean, I understand. You got a very, very energetic fan base.
Uh-huh.
A fan base that feeds on what's coming. So you always want to seem like something's coming.
Right.
But if you always want to seem like something's coming and keep teasing things that might come and they never come, you're just going to get people mad at you.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over and over again.
It has become a Boy Who Cried Wolf situation here, for sure. Because, I mean, the last couple announcements, I think we've been kind of like, oh, okay. Believe it when we see it kind of thing.
Yeah. When there's a trailer, I believe you.
Right.
Until then, yeah, okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's not where you want to be.
No. That's taken this whole, the way they run their PR at Lucasfilm way too far. I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's a lot going on.
But not Obi-Wan.
Well, I should say there's a lot allegedly going on.
Yeah, right.
Nothing confirmed, though. Not yet. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, at The Wars of More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsofmore. Find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we've covered it all.
All right. We will talk next week.